for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday and we have got a lot of crazy news. I'm Miss Frizzle this morning, or at least I think I have more technical know-how than Bill Nye, the mechanical engineer. Although, I mean, to be fair, he probably does know more mathology than me. That being said, I don't wear a bow tie, so, doing pretty good, better than Bill Nye. So, that tracks for me. We've got a lot of headlines this morning, a lot of true crime and, crime adjacent stuff, and the absurd for you guys, along with naming and shaming, and a literal, use of lawn implements for, catastrophe. Arithmetology, yeah, don't know that. But that's why I love Halloween week. I can pretend I know math. It's the greatest thing I've ever pulled off. In fact, all of my math teachers will be like, this is probably the best costume you could have. Still don't know math. Our first story today, and this is definitely hitting Jamaica, but again, as this progresses and continues to stay a Category 5 storm, I do want to keep you guys, abreast of it. Now, I would suggest that you go to Ryan Hall for all the actual meteorological information, but it does look like Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm as it's closing in on Jamaica. The National Hurricane Center is expecting it to make landfall in Jamaica on Tuesday morning as the strongest hurricane on record to strike the island. Now, the center of the hurricane is located about 130 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica, and the storm is moving westward at just 3 miles per hour. Now, I don't know if that's a fast or slow storm. Obviously, go to Ryan Hall or a meteorologist, of any fashion that isn't me. Do not venture out of your safe shelter. The NHC is telling people catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding, along with numerous landslides, are likely today through Tuesday. So definitely, if you know people from Jamaica, if you know people on the East Coast, this is not mainstream media, so I'm not trying to, get you all Twitter-pated. But if you are on the East Coast, maybe keep an eye, maybe have supplies ready, maybe have, an evacuation plan if this storm continues to keep its current strength as it heads towards America. That being said, take time and think about, or, whatever you do, pray, put out in the universe to manifest. Keep the people of Jamaica in your thoughts today, because this is a very, very strong storm. And, we can all just take a moment to pray for people or think about people. I mean, just once in a while. But that being said, do keep abreast of it. Do have, maybe supplies. But this isn't, mainstream media, so I'm not going to tell you like the end is nigh. Or at least Bill Nye. Well, in true crime, and don't do this. I don't care what side of the political aisle you are. As y'all know, I am not extremely political. I have my thoughts, but I don't tell y'all what to think. But how about we just stop threatening people? How about we just do that? How about regardless of what anyone thinks in their gray matter up here, we just don't, threaten them? I don't know. A Minnesota man has been arrested for threatening Pam Bondi in a TikTok post. Also, don't make threats on TikTok. Stop using TikTok. A Minnesota man has been arrested earlier this month and charged with threatening Attorney General Pam Bondi in a TikTok post that appeared to place a $45,000 bounty on the nation's top law enforcement official. Now, the post targeting Bondi was reported to the FBI on October 9th by a TikTok user in Detroit and featured a photo of Bondi with a, scope sort of sighting thing on it. And the text read, wanted Pam Bondi, $45,000, alive or not so alive, preferably not so alive. Now, that being said, we could all take the temperature down just a little bit. After that being said, this is not a political stream, but this is going to be a big headline. This is something that is happening today. Now, the FBI was able to trace the account to Tyler Maxon Avios, a 30-year-old who's living in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now, the Bureau alleges that the account includes ties to anarchism and includes a display name that features a symbol of anarchy and pinned a link to anarchist fact book. So this does look like something. It will probably be a federal case, so we won't hear much about it. That being said, he did make his initial appearance before a federal magistrate judge in Minneapolis earlier this month and was released on personal recognizance. So this is going to be one that's going through there. And as much as I stay away from political stuff, this is probably going to be something you're going to be seeing other places too. Now, bodies continue to pile up around the bayous in Houston, but officials are continuing to try to discourage the public from linking all of these separate bodies being found and kind of speculating that this might be the work of one individual serial type person. Enough is enough of this wild speculation. Houston Mayor John Whitmore was frustrated as he stood in front of cameras alongside the police chief last month, trying to dispel rumors that cast a veil of anxiety over a vast network of bayous that crisscross his city. There is no evidence that there is a serial unaliver loose on the streets of Houston, he said at a news conference. Now, a crescendo of nervous speculation reached a fever pitch in the city when the body of 20-year-old University of Houston student Jade McKissick was pulled from Brays Bayou on September 15th, one of 7 deaths reported in Houston area bayous last month. Now, the promising honor students had mysteriously vanished after spending an evening with a friend at a local bar, then leaving alone without her cell phone and stopping at a gas station next door. Now, the autopsy revealed that there were no signs of trauma or foul play, and the cause of manner of her death remains pending. But that's really not alleviating, especially after they found 7 bodies in the last month in these bayous. Now, that was probably the biggest deal. That's when college students started getting really worried, is when one of their fellow college students was included in these bodies. Now, alarmed by the chain of bodies that has been pulled out of the bayous, some Houston residents took to social media to try to make sense of these happenings, with posts pushing theories of a serial unaliver garnering thousands of likes. Now, family members of some of those found in waterways have shown skepticism over the death investigations and have called for more answers. Last week, father of Kenneth Cutting Jr., a 22-year-old found dead in Buffalo Bayou last year, expressed frustration with authorities after the medical examiner listed his son's death as undetermined. He didn't fall into that bayou. The father, Kenneth Cutting Sr., told a CNN affiliate, "I don't know if there is a serial unaliver, but the way they're dealing with those bodies is ridiculous." Meanwhile, local officials like plumber and council member Carolyn Evansbod advised community members to be more vigilant and walk in pairs along the bayou as they pressed for answers to quell the unease and pondered a task force that would be, formed to investigate all of these deaths. But the Police Department of Houston and Mayor Whitmire vehemently refute that there is a serial unaliver, insisting that the deaths are not connected and that none of the fatalities have actually been ruled as homicides right as of right now. Unfortunately, drowning in our bayous is not a new phenomenon, the mayor said at a news conference. There are 2,500 miles of bayous and people are exposed to them, sometimes foul play, sometimes not. Adding to the anxiety is the fact that the reported bayou deaths in the Houston area have more than doubled since 2023, with at least 25 deaths being confirmed so far this year by Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences and the medical examiner. Now, by comparison, at least 14 bayou deaths were confirmed by this time in 2024, and with that being a total of 20 for that entire year. So we're cranking up on this. Now, criminal justice and conspiracy theory experts, spoke and agree that there's no indication that there is a serial unaliver dumping bodies into Houston's 22 bayou waterways, but it's natural, for people to notice patterns in this. This is typical human response to this sort of incident, said Robert Spicer, a communications professor at Millerville University, who's researched conspiracy theories. So there you go. Now, it does go a lot longer into this, and I may do a longer side video on this one, but this is definitely, so from what officials are saying, none of these deaths are related, which you would kind of need them to be if it was a serial unaliver. They usually have to be linked by a signature and all this other stuff. I watch CSI and I stayed at a Holiday Inn once, so I can be an investigator. But this definitely looks like, it's what the internet does best. Try to make answers out of things that don't make sense and then make up your own answers if you can't find real answers. Well, not that this is a big thing of news. I saw a lot of people covering this yesterday, and I get the impression that they don't watch a lot of trials, so they see this as a big win for Charlie Kirk's, unaliver, Tyler Robertson, but this is sort of fairly normal stuff. Charlie Kirk's, alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, will be allowed to wear civilian clothes in court after he made the same legal request that Luigi Mangione, the other, political unaliver of our times. Although he did get beat up by 7 ladyboys, so I'd actually... Now, Robinson, 22, who allegedly took the life of Kirk, did ask to be allowed to wear civilian clothes in court even before his jury trial. Now, the judge, Tony Graff, agreed to the request but denied Robinson's bid to ditch his shackles in the courtroom, citing the safety of public and court staff. The case has attracted extraordinary public and media attention, Graff said. Images of Mr. Robinson in jail clothing are likely to circulate widely and influence prospective jurors. Given the scale of that publicity, the risk of prejudice is significant. So this is not something that's out of the normal. We saw Darrell Brooks get to wear civilian clothes when he would listen to Judge Mommy. We've seen everyone, and a lot of our jurisprudence is predicated on you are innocent, this. JKD Buck, from the article I remember last week, he got beat up by 7 ladyboys. So I don't know. I'll have to look up the article again. Yeah, it is fairly normal. I saw a lot of people losing their mind over this yesterday, and honestly, I was just too tired to deal with it. I don't know where my wedding ring is, and it's too big, and Dingus loves it, so I took it off, and I know he's bad at it somewhere, but he's not talking. That being said, I saw this pop out last night and I don't see the big deal. Again, if you're not used to trials, if you're not used to covering this, I do think that a lot of, what happens in a trial is somewhat basically Greek to you. So if you haven't been following this, then yes, it might seem very, very, favorable to Tyler Robinson to let him have civilian clothes. But this is something that's fairly normal and traditional. So I didn't see why everyone was doing these like meltdown videos. I get it, you know, but our justice system relies foundationally upon the idea that you are innocent until proven guilty. So I get that this, pisses people off. And, but for our worst enemies, we still need to follow the rules because they're called principles for a reason. Look, we don't like doing it. It's just like eating broccoli. No one really likes doing it without cheese sauce and bacon, but sometimes you have to pretend to be a GD adult. Now, Mr. Robinson's right to the presumption of innocence outweighs the minimum inconvenience of permitting civilian attire, and Mr. Robinson shall be dressed as one who is presumed innocent. But the judge did stop short of allowing him to be uncuffed, instead instructing the media to not photograph his restraints or Robinson walking in or out of the courtroom. And that's fairly standard too. Lori Vallow wanted to get her, little shackles off. And now he appeared from jail and was not shown during the brief video hearing. He spoke once to answer the judge when he asked if he could hear him, and he said yes. Now, the Utah native's lawyer argued on October 9th in a motion that if he continues to wear jail clothes and shackles during court hearings, future jurors could be prejudiced against him. So this is fairly normal. I do understand, that people that may not be used to, this kind of thing. And it is a little bit interesting for pretrial hearings, but this is a highly public case. And this judge seems to be one that wants to try this in the court of law and not in the court of public opinion. So hopefully he's going to maintain a tight control of his courtroom and we will see this play out. That being said, this wasn't quite the bombshell that I kept seeing everyone make the video on. But again, I can understand if you're not used to, kind of going and watching trials or looking at legal stuff. You might see this as a big, giant thing. But in my opinion, it's kind of normal. Now, I'm just going to tell y'all, do not do this in Appalachia. Do not do this in my neighborhood, okay? Y'all, this is how you end up, perforated, allegedly in Minecraft. Do not do this in rural areas. Apparently, a masked trio in a horrifying attempted break-in were family members trying to pull a prank. Well, that's how we end up with a smaller family reunion. A masked trio is being sought in a chilling attempted break-in at a Virginia home this month that actually turned out to, in a twist worthy of M. Night Shyamalan, decided that, it turned out it was family members pulling a prank, according to new information that's been released by the police. After more than 100, hours of investigation, Alexandria Police Department Chief Tarek McGuire said detectives had identified the three suspects who terrorized and terrified a family dressed in frightening Halloween masks as cousins and residents of the same house. Again, this is a way you end up with a smaller family reunion in certain areas. I would not try this. Now, the prank reportedly took place on October 14th in Alexandria, a city just south of Washington, D.C. Now, in the incident in which the trio made threats against the family and caused property damage at the home was captured on the home's Ring surveillance camera, McGuire said during a October 27th press conference. Now, McGuire said investigators had received numerous tips after the story garnered national attention and later contacted one of the suspects, an adult female who confessed to her role and that of her other family members in the case. Now, McGuire told reporters that a woman admitted she and her two sons and a nephew staged a prank while two other adults and a child reportedly filmed the incident. This is how we win a Darwin Award. Because that's what's good. Calling it a moral failure, McGuire said the incident could have gone south real fast had someone opened, a force multiplier on any of the suspects. In addition to calling 911, McGuire said the homeowner called her brother, who arrived at the scene armed with a force multiplier. Police responded to the 911 call at the home shortly after the incident, McGuire said, adding there was no indication that the residents at the new home knew that this particular, thing was a prank. Adults should be accountable for their children and not exercise this type of behavior. Hopefully, this will be a learning experience for their family, the chief said. Now, the chief also said that there would be no charges filed in this case because the family didn't want to pursue charges. But the suspects will not be identified. No one was injured in the incident. However, footage was captured of the frightening episode, which began when one of the masked individuals rang the front doorbell. The video shows the trio standing ominously in the front yard before taking turns ringing the bell, knocking on the door, and at one point jiggling at the handle. It's either you come out or we come in, one of the masked men says in the video as the trio continues to demand that the family open the door. Now, Shalea Whiteside, who lives in the home, previously said the trio attempted burglars appeared to be strangers, and she thought that the scene was a prank. They tried forcing the door open, jiggling the handles, and broke down my backyard fence. They tore through the back screen, screaming threats and saying that they were trying to unalive us and they were coming back. Yeah, this isn't a prank. This is terrorism, basically. This is terrorizing someone. No. And again, this is not mainstream media, but if you guys know kiddos or little ones that like Mr. Crafty Pants or, parents, my kiddos particularly don't watch this person, but it looks like he is in touch with the child grossness, allegedly. A YouTuber known as Mr. Crafty Pants. I mean, that's more creepy than Mr. Slave. Like Mr. Garrison having Mr. Slave in South Park sounds less white van and free puppyish than Mr. Crafty Pants. Mr. Crafty Pants sounds like a name of someone who was already on 37 states' different lists of people who can't be close to schools. And I mean, with a name like Mr. Crafty Pants, are we shocked at all? A popular content creator on YouTube was charged with sharing child grossness materials on another social media account. Now, Michael David Booth, 39, best known as YouTuber Mr. Crafty Pants, a content creator who has amassed an audience of hundreds of thousands on YouTube, Instagram, and other social media platforms. But according to police, his alleged activities on Kick are what is landing him behind bars in his home state of Kentucky. Now, according to an arrest citation obtained by local NBC affiliate WAVE, an unnamed tipster reported that an account on Kick shared child grossness material in August. Now, the Kick account was investigated by police, and selfies matched to Booth and were allegedly linked to the same account. Now, the arrest citation stated that the IP address connected to the Kick account matched Booth's home address in Louisville. Now, police said that Booth was allegedly connected to 3 files that depicted child grossness of children under the age of 12 years old, and 3 more files containing pictures of children under the age of 18. We're sending you to Snake Island, sir. Like, you aren't getting a one-way ticket. Do not come back. Do not file go. Just stay directly in Snake Island. Now, according to the report, the files that contained the images of younger children were allegedly shared by Booth on at least 10 occasions. Now, the files with older children were allegedly shared more than 15 times. Now, under his Mr. Crafty Pants moniker, Booth made videos of arts and crafts tutorials using smart cutting machines. He had grown his follower base on Instagram and Facebook to over 20 or 250,000, and his YouTube audience reached over 600,000, So definitely just gross, gross, gross. Now, Booth was arrested on October 22nd and appeared in court the following day. Now, he pled not guilty to 10 counts of distributing grossness of a child portrayed by minor children under 12 and 15 counts of, distributing child grossness of anyone 12 to 18 and one count of, portraying a performance by a minor. Now, his bond was set at $100,000 and he remains in custody at Louisville Metro Department of Corrections. I'm kind of okay. Now, this says his next hearing is on October 31st, so I will be looking at that. See if we can get on Mr. Crafty Pants, trial from the start. But yeah, child grossness is a no. I hope that every parent is, making sure their kiddo is okay. I'm not saying this to creep you out, gross you out, or terrify you, but, just I'll try to let you know if, more YouTubers pop up on the true crime beat. Now, a motorcyclist wipes out. Why are you? Oh, this is 23 minutes long. We are not watching a full. Where did he wipe out? I just want to see the wipe out. Come on. I am a professional. Okay. Well, let's see. A high-speed motorcycle chase ended in a horrifying caught-on-video wipeout. Now, let me see if I can actually get to the wipeout and go full screen, because I was not going to see. All right. We'll watch this. With one arm? No arms? Just driving with no arms and texting? What? No. This is a... And that's why you don't ride motorcycles without, your hands. It looks like he was texting, putting on a backpack, maybe making his bra into a strapless back. What the hell was going on with this man? A high-speed motorcycle chase ended in a horrifying caught-on-video wipeout on a Los Angeles freeway after a man that was armed was allegedly threatening a woman and shot and took the life of a responding officer on Monday. Now, the rider sped past traffic on the 201 freeway with speeds up to 170 miles per hour before slamming into an oncoming car. And it was all caught on aerial footage. Now, sheriff's deputies were responding to a DV report of an armed Hispanic man threatening a woman in the suburb of Rancho Cucamonga, where the suspect began shooting at officers. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office reported in a statement. One deputy was struck and life-flighted to a hospital. The suspect fled the location on a motorcycle and was pursued eastbound on the 210 freeway. Now, the perp, who initial reports said robbed a shopping mall, wove through afternoon traffic before taking his hands off the handlebar to adjust his backpack. That's when he slammed into the back of a sedan, sending the suspect cartwheeling through the air, skidding on his back before the bike rolled over on him, a wheel seeming to miss his head just by inches. Now, the car that clipped the motorcycle was being driven by an off-duty narcotics officer conducting a legal intervention. Even the off-duty cops like, nah, I got this, just strong-armed you. Y'all parents have seen it. Like there is a toddler running away from their parents. They are being an absolute little gremlin. And so you just say, hey, are you going to stop? You don't want to run away from your mom. But it does cross your mind whether to close arm them so that they stay with their mom instead of running around the store like wild animals. That being said, I've never closed armed a child. I've just thought about it. Usually I just stop them and say, hey, don't run away from your mom. Now the footage was seemed to show that a force multiplier was lying near the asphalt after he, had been, well, shaken, not stirred a little bit. Officers swarmed the dazed suspect and administered first aid, putting him in a neck brace, and after several minutes, he was appearing to be able to sit up and cooperate with officers. Now, aerial footage into the scene of the initial shootout showed a patrol vehicle's windows shattered and a bloody police vest on the ground. Now, the wounded deputy, later identified as San Bernardino County Sheriff's Deputy Andrew Nuez, passed away, unfortunately, even though life-saving, measures were given and they had a lifeline. He was struck by a bullet in the head and was rushed to the hospital. Now, he leaves behind a wife who was pregnant with their second child and a 2-year-old daughter, his mother, and 4 brothers and sisters. We are embedded in sorrow. Shannon Discus, a press liaison officer, said in a press conference. Now, he was a 6-year veteran with the department. Deputy Nunez served with unwavering commitment, courage, and deep compassion for the community he vowed to protect. His bravery and sacrifice reflect a life dedicated to safeguarding others, even at the greatest cost. Such devotion will remain forever etched in our hearts. Now, San Bernardino County District Attorney Jason Anderson said his office intends to look into charging the suspect with murder of a peace officer. Now, the suspect is in stable condition in an area hospital. Investigation into these series of incidents is ongoing, and officers are waiting to interview the suspect as of Monday afternoon. So they may or may not be able to finally talk to him unless he lawyers up. Well, Sean Diddy, his prison date is revealed as pardon hopes are slipping away. Sean Diddy Combs' release date has been revealed by the Federal Bureau of Prison just weeks after the rap mogul was sentenced to 50 months behind bars following his summer trial. Now, Combs can anticipate that May 8th, 2028, he'll be released from federal lockdown. So there you go. If the beleaguered 1990s rap power player turned music and fashion kingpin serves his entire sentence without a hitch, he'll serve 85% of a 50-month term that he was handed earlier this month. Now, he does have an opportunity to earn good conduct time each year while serving his sentence as part of the First Step Act. The release date also includes the year that he served in Brooklyn federal lockup while he awaited trial after being arrested and charged. So we know all of this, but it looks like we have an official release day for Mr. Diddy. I will make you a cupcake, sir. Not made with baby oil. I will be using vegetable oil. Now, in one of the things to maybe keep an eye on, it looks like Hormel had to recall 4.9 million pounds of chicken that could have possibly have been contaminated with pieces of metal. So again, not in MSM, scaremongering fashion, but if you decided to buy some chicken, maybe check your stuff. Hormel Foods is recalling nearly 5 million pounds of food service ready-to-eat frozen chicken products that may be contaminated with pieces of metal. So this does look like it's going more to restaurants, but, keep this in mind if you want to go get some Chick-fil-A. Now, they're recalling them because they may be contaminated with pieces of metal, and this announcement came on Saturday. The Austin and Minnesota-based company traced the contamination to metal fragments from a conveyor belt that's used during production. Now, the pieces could vary in size, roughly measuring between 2 millimeters and 17 millimeters. Now, the issue was discovered by Hormel after they received multiple complaints from food service customers, including hotels, restaurants, and other organizations that that, serve food to people, and had been reporting finding metal in their frozen chicken breasts, thighs, and other products. This affects, all Hormel fire braised lamb label brands distributed nationwide between February 10th and September 19th of 2025. So y'all had your conveyor belt just fraying for like a year. So it does look like a lot. This does look like it's more for food service, so it shouldn't really affect, normal everyday consumers, but do, you know, pay attention if you're going out to eat and you're getting chicken, you might stick with steak. I mean, that's my general thing, but there you go. And hopefully all the businesses comply and no one gets hurt. But there you go. A man yelling from the woods, a 911 call, and then police found a body with a stunning twist. At 10:36, oh no, there we go. A 20-year-old Connecticut man is in custody after allegedly admitting in a 911 call that he took the life of his mother. Sebastian Van Stockton of New Canaan was arrested on Friday, October 24th, and charged with murder in connection with the death of his mother, according to the police arrest log. Now at 10:36 p.m. on a Friday night, police responded to a report of a male voice yelling from the woods. While officers were on their way, a man called 911 from a home on Gerds Road, stating that he had just taken his mother's life. Now, officers and EMS tried to perform life-saving measures on the woman, who has not yet been publicly identified. However, she was pronounced at the scene. Now, officers immediately identified Van Stockton as a suspect, and he was arrested and charged with her murder. Now, he remains held on a $2 million bond and is expected to be in court on Monday, October 27th. Now, in his mugshot, his face appears to be scratched and bloody. This is an incident that is domestic in nature, and no further information will be released. Now, it's unclear whether Van Stockton has retained an attorney who can speak on his behalf. Now, New Canaan is an upscale suburban town where CEOs, billionaires, and celebrities, including Harry Connick Jr., I don't care about this. So it looks like a bougie part of the world. Now, the 2019 disappearance of mother of five, Jennifer Doulos, made national headlines, and she is also from New Canaan. Her husband, Foitis Doulos, was accused of taking her life. He died by his own hand before the case was adjudicated, but his accomplice, Michelle Troconis, was convicted of conspiracy charges and sentenced to 14 years. Now, what that has to do with anything else other than a little addendum, there you go. But it looks like this young man is going to be a trial that we'll be seeing here soon. It's very rare that people usually confess to these things on 911. So it will be interesting to see what his defense will be moving forward, or if he'll take a plea deal, because he kind of confessed. Well, I guess it's time for all of us to change our passwords to password 1236. 183 million email passwords may have been exposed in a data leak, including millions of Gmail accounts. A massive leak has exposed more than 183 million email passwords, including tens of millions linked to Gmail accounts, in what a cybersecurity analyst is calling one of the biggest credential dumps ever uncovered. Now, the stolen trove containing 3.5 terabytes of data surfaced online this month, according to Troy Hunt, an Australian security researcher who runs the breach notification site Have I Been Pwned? Have I Been Pwned? Okay. There you go. Now, Hunt stated that the information originated from a years-long sweep of infostealer platforms, malware networks that secretly siphon username, passwords, and website addresses from infected devices. Now, the data contains both stealer logs and credential stuffing lists. I have no idea what any of this means, but I'm guessing we should all just switch our passwords is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to write password backwards. Now, someone logging into Gmail ends up with their email address and passwords captured, so just there you go. Now, basically, just assume that you've been affected and take, care of your passwords. I can offer no help with this. Y'all know I don't have any technical skills whatsoever. So may peace be upon us, and hopefully we can all find a new password. Now, in an update to a story that I brought you, I believe last week, this was actually the trial of the woman that claimed her Louis Vuitton, ran into some guy, not the fact that she was hammered. It looks like she has been, well, adjudicated and sentenced. Christina Chambers was sentenced on Monday to 11 years and 14 days in prison in connection with the 2023 death of a pedestrian that was hit by her Porsche 911 Sierra as she drunkenly careened off of Montrose Street. Now, the length of the sentence symbolizes Joseph McMullen's November 14th birthday, officials have said. Now, the jury spent nearly 6 hours deliberating Chambers' punishment in the death of 33-year-old McMullen, who was walking on a first date outside Voodoo Donuts at 2:30 a.m. April 19th, in Westheimer. Now, McMullen and his date decided on a late-night snack of donuts and coffee. The sentence means that Chambers, who is now 4 months pregnant, will likely give birth while in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice custody. Now, she had been asking for probation. The jury also tagged on a $10,000 fine for Chambers and convicted the 34-year-old woman of manslaughter on Thursday. She entered the courtroom in tears on Friday, going to apologize to the McMullen family after hearing one witness after another share memories about him. "I'm so sorry," Chambers testified. "I would not have imagined this happening. If I could trade places with him, I would." Now, Judge Matthew Penguay asked Chambers whether she had anything to say before the sentence was carried out, and she said no. Now, McMullen's family embraced each other and thanked prosecutors ahead of sharing their victim impact statements in the case. Now, Chambers had testified to the night of drinking that prefaced the deadly wreck. She went out with a friend, starting at an upscale restaurant in Bladorn because she didn't want to be at home with her now ex-husband, who she found out was cheating on her. She insisted on having a glass of wine while her friend had martinis, and she went on to drink 4 other alcoholic beverages at bars. She didn't feel intoxicated, she maintained. The two went then to a drug dealer's house after dinner to buy a little bit of powder and some Adderall, as you do on just a normal night when you find your ex is cheating. But she said she didn't use any of those. Those were a doggy bag. She was taking them home. She rations it. But she did test positive for a little bit of the powder, a couple hours after the wreck. So someone's lying. Chambers stood by her claim that her Louis Vuitton Hill got stuck under the gas pedal, preventing her from braking the speeding sports car. Now, her attorney, Mark Thiessen, repeated that assertion throughout the entire trial. So it wasn't that she was drunk, a little bit speeded up. It was her heel. Now, as a person who cannot walk in heels, I wouldn't attempt to drive in them, but I think it might be a little bit of the, nasal powder and the booze. Now, Andrew Fizguli, a prosecutor, held up the shoe and pedal during closing arguments and mocked Chambers for insisting on that explanation because it just doesn't make sense. An expert witness for Chambers testified that the so-called shoe theory was possible as he noticed specks of red residue on the pedal that resembled the bottom of her designer heels. Now, Chambers' pregnancy became a point of contention during the trial as Fizguli declared her reckless and unfit to be a parent. Now, Chambers professed a long desire to become a mother, but several attempts had ended up in medical complications and, miscarriages. She had her latest miscarriage in January, she testified, amid her attorney's attempt to disqualify the Harris County District Attorney's Office from handling the trial over a conflict of interest. She identified her ex-husband, who filed for divorce about a week after McMullen's parents filed a lawsuit against Chambers, as the father. Now, she has denied getting pregnant on purpose, saying she didn't know exactly when her trial would take place. Now, Chambers was unsure who would care for the baby if she was imprisoned, and she faced 2 to 20 years in prison, but was still eligible for probation, so she thought the shoe thing was going to work. Now, her relatives have said they are incapable of raising a child if she went to prison, and Chambers didn't know if her ex-husband would take care of the baby as well. Now, their divorce paperwork states that they have no children and none were expected in the future. Chambers' mother, Janice Chambers, said her daughter stopped drinking after the crash, one of her court-mandated rules to be free on bond, and had been trying to be a better person. She had hoped that the jury would recommend probation. Probation is for people you are mad at. Prison is for people you're scared of, Thiessen said. Yeah, no, you're not getting away with this. I hope someone is able to take care of this child this woman decided to have for sympathy. Because that's what I'm calling here. Look, I don't like to, I love to judge people. What am I saying over here? This woman tried to get pregnant for some sympathy, and now she's just, screwed over a young child, her own child, not to mention spit on, the fact that this family lost their son. No grandchildren are going to be coming from him, but sure, go on and live your best life, sweetie, in orange. Bye-bye for her. Now, if you have a wood chipper named the Intimidator and you know it's not so great, why do you still have people doing stuff on it? I mean, I know we make fun of Lord Chippy, but I don't have an actual Lord Chippy outside that I let the kids go play on because it's a joke. If you have something called the Intimidator that's deathly, unsafe, why are we still having it? A landscaper allegedly got pulled into a wood chipper called the Intimidator at a cemetery. According to a lawsuit, it had a malfunction and didn't work. A New Jersey landscaper was pulled into a wood chipper known as the Intimidator at a cemetery, obviously taking his life. Now, the estate of Andonos Mateo Perez, 22, is suing Michigan-based equipment company Bandit Industries for the June 2024 accident, claiming that the Intimidator chipper he was using lacked adequate warning, lacked features necessary to make it safe for its intended use, contained design features which made it unsafe for its intended purpose, and was designed in such a way that the wood chipper did not properly shut off and did not prevent the user from being drawn into the machine, according to the family's legal complaint that was filed in Hunterdon County Superior Court. Now, Mateo Perez was doing landscaping work at the St. Magdalene Cemetery in Flemington as an employee for a lawn care company, William LaRue Services, when he lost his life. He was tasked with feeding trees into the wood chipper, the complaint said. Now, at the time of the incident, unbeknownst to Mateo Perez, the wood chipper malfunctioned or improperly operated without necessary safety mechanism, causing him to be pulled into the wood chipper at a high rate of speed. Now, the Intimidator 19XPC, as Bandit Industry calls it, features Bandit's most powerful feed system available on a hand-fed chipper. The slidebox feed system the machine comes with features a massive 25-inch wide by 15-inch diameter top feed wheel. Basically, this thing sounds hella dangerous. Now, according to Bandit, all of these bigger things on this massive, wood chipper means that larger material can be pulled in easier, which would kind of seem like a safety feature that you at least have like a little, pop-up chat about. Now, Perez's estate claims that the alleged defective chipper, which Bandit itself violated the New Jersey Product Liability Act, which allows any claim or action to be brought by any claimant for harm caused by a product, irrespective of the theory underlying the claim. So we'll probably hear more about this as more discovery comes out, but we definitely need to, it was a headline with an actual wood chipper, y'all. I wish I had a deeper meaning other than I feel terribly, incredibly sorry for his family, but there was a headline about a wood chipper, you guys. I had to pull it. Well, now we come to the, part of the show where you wonder, did I step off in a parallel dimension? Did CERN mess up the Matrix again? Maybe, possibly. Are we in the end times? Look, I don't have those answers, but I do find the stories that make you wonder if we're in the end times.
Keep grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, y'all, I just saw this headline and I was like, I'm done. I'm done with humanity. A rope-free bungee jumping, I guess, obstacle course or something, has been barred. What could go wrong? Rope-free bungee jumping from the world's highest bridge. Okay, Darwin, you're going to have some awards to give out here soon. A ropeless bungee jumping attraction from the world's highest road bridge has been suspended before its inauguration after videos of safety tests sparked fears on social media. Now, after making news headlines around the world as, the highest road bridge ever, the Hanyang Grand Canyon Bridge was again in the news recently, this time for a controversial attraction that challenged daredevils to jump from the bridge into a rainbow-colored net to avoid falling into the Benpei River 625 meters or 2,051 feet below. I mean, this seems like an idiot test, and I don't know that everyone's gonna pass. Ropeless bungee jumping. I must never let youngest most feral find out this is even a remote possibility, you guys. Now, as the name suggests, ropeless bungee jumping differs from traditional bungee jumping in that you're not wearing a GD rope. But instead jump directly from a platform into a safety net below. Now, the bridge obviously offers various height options, ranging from 20 to 50 meters, allowing participants to choose their own height they would like to leap from. How about none? How about none of it ever? Now, the price is set at just over 1,600 won or $225, lower than 3,000 won or $420 for standard bungee jumping. Yeah, bungee jumping may not be the place where you want to cut corners and get the group on. Maybe you want to pay for the bungee cord. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Now, it was scheduled to be open to the public this week, and the installation was tested with 100 and 200-pound bags dropped from the platform, and although the net seemed to hold up pretty well, it still raised a lot of safety concerns. Now, people commenting on social media asked what would happen if a person somehow missed the 160 square meter net, or if it somehow broke under a person's weight. Yeah, that could be a problem. Now, in response to the criticism, the company operating the controversial attraction explained that the net was designed with fixed corners to effectively absorb the impact of the fall and that it descends to the bottom of the platform, ensuring the participants' safe exit. Now, that did little to appease the public, and according to Chinese news media, the inauguration of the ropeless bungee jumping installation has been delayed. We have finally reached that where it's like, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it? Apparently some people would. Yes, we have found all the people that our mothers asked, well, if someone's going to jump off a bridge, we found them. There they are. They're ropeless bungee jumping. I can't. Now, I am ashamed to say that I want one of these. New York City's creepy rat boo-boo is here to terrify your dreams just in time for Halloween, but good luck getting one. Of course, the one Labubu I want that looks like a rat they won't have. A new pop-up is raising a big stink, celebrating the city's signature grime with a cheeky collection of rat-themed merch and chaotic charm, including a sold-out rat boo-boo, a tattooed and pierced Labubu dressed as a rodent. The We Love New York City comeback collection featured everything from a creepy rat boo-boo plushies to trash bag earbud covers, legal Columbia nose powder coffee mugs, and an ish shield for sneaker guards. So basically, New York is a hellhole. You need covers to keep you from human feces, but they do have this really cute doll that they're now there were only 300 of these little rat boo-boos, so I'm sure if you really, really want one, they'll be on eBay. But there you go. If you want to celebrate how gross and disgusting New York is, you can go and I if you need these to walk around in your city, I'm never leaving home. You guys are just making my desire to be an inside cat a-okay. Like I have Amazon delivery, I have Walmart delivery here. I am never leaving my house. I do not need to put on little shoe covers to go outside and walk on my streets. So I'll stay here in rural Indiana, thank you very much. That being said, I do want one of the rat boo-boos, but I'm not spending, thousands of dollars to get it. Well, they're just like Bonnie and Clyde or Romeo and Juliet or Cletus and Dawn. Modern day love story. Caught on camera having the smexy times at a popular Arizona robber or eatery before robbing it. Well, you have to you shouldn't mix business and pleasure. I mean, you couldn't have gotten it on after you robbed someone. I would think that that would give you all like the happiness hormones and you'd be all, proud of each other. That's when you go, I guess not. I guess I'm a planner. Well, a couple was caught on security cameras having the smexy times inside an Arizona eatery, allegedly decided to cap off their times. Dan Davis, thank you so much. I want to go back to the wood chipper story. Did the guy have it in his will that he wanted his ashes spread? I was trying to ignore the fact that he was working in a cemetery, but I was like, well, it's kind of convenient, but I felt bad saying that. I mean, y'all, I don't even know. I don't even know what you do. And why do you have something named the Intimidator? What is going on? I mean, we all saw Fargo. I would have assumed that the Safety Regulatory Commission on wood chippers would have been like that of those for, I don't know, force multipliers. I just figured after Fargo, we all learned how incredibly dangerous those things were. That being said, so you decide to do it in a restaurant, and then you're like, you know what? I'm kind of famished. We need some money. Let's go rob people. Now, Scottsdale police are investigating the early morning break-in at Mon Cherie, a rose-themed restaurant in the old section of Scottsdale known for its pink decor and Instagram-ready displays. Now, owner Lexi Costain said that the bizarre burglary began around 3:50 a.m. when security footage showed a man and woman entering the property and engaging in the smexy time among the floral decorations near the outdoor patio seating area. So they were out on the back patio just like, you know what? They got caught up in the moment, I guess. There's roses everywhere. Maybe it was kind of romantic. Maybe they're a modern day Bonnie and Clyde. Now, when employees arrived later that morning, they found evidence of a break-in and what happened before it. As you do. The first thing I noticed was the whole stand like totally torn apart and there were things all over. The suspects made off with about $450 in cash, an iPhone 5 that was used as a hostess phone, and a bottle of Bacardi rum. Now, 2 doors were damaged in the burglary as well. The sticky-fingered pair were seen wearing masks before taking them off and giving investigators clear footage of their face. Yeah, if you have masks on, keep them on when you're burglarizing and smexy timing at the local tea house. Do what now? Now, authorities have not yet identified them, though they saw their entire faces. Now, Mon Cherie is located near First Avenue and Goldwater Boulevard and is a popular bachelorette party and date night destination. Well, I guess they were having a date night. Now, Castan and her staff found the violation more disturbing than the property loss. It's just such a happy, positive place, so the fact that they did this in our establishment is really disturbing, said lead server Caitlin Sorensen. It's like this place, like this isn't the place for it. Yes, we're full of romance and happiness, but that's not what we're wanting here. They seem more upset that they probably don't ever want to take a black light into that restaurant ever again. Keep your smexy time and robbing to your own homes. This is not the date night you're looking for. And I would just like to say, Frasier, you can have it. You know what? It's rare that someone beats me on this whole having kid thing. So there you go. Frasier star Kelsey Grammer welcomes an eighth child at 70, as you do. Frasier star, Kelsey Grammer at the age of 70 has shared exciting news during an episode of Pod Meets World podcast on Monday. He revealed that he just had a fourth child with his wife, Katie Walsh. So he has 8 children now, 3 days ago. I mean, I don't know. I mean, good for you. It's not my job. It's not my life. It's not my kids. It's not my college tuition I need to pay. So, Mr. Kelsey Grammer, if you'd like to adopt some of my children to help with their educational stuff, I mean, 8, you're not going to notice like 4 more. I'm just throwing it in there. Call me back. That being said, congratulations if he's happy with it. I hope he is. It seems like he's happy with it. And it's not my business, so I don't really care. He seems happy. I'm happy. And again, I don't have to pay taxes on it. So have however many kids you want. Go be Nick Cannon out there. I don't care. I just thought it was funny. I was like, Beast had a new baby? And what the hell is wrong with people? A mother was served with a margarita with industrial cleaner on a Valentine's Day dinner. Now she's passed away and police are investigating. You mean you knew that there was Fabuloso in her margarita for years and you just now decided to investigate? 2 years after being seriously injured from what seemed to be an ordinary Valentine's Day margarita at a local restaurant, an Oklahoma educator is now dead, and police are investigating what went wrong. A third-grade teacher, Holly Hill, passed away on Thursday, October 23rd, from what her family said was a complication related to the incident that happened in 2023. That's when Hill, a wife and mother of 3, ordered a margarita at Hacienda Las Margaritas Bar and Grill in Elgin, Oklahoma, but was instead served a drink with industrial cleaner. Yeah, this doesn't seem like an accident. Her mouth was immediately on fire and she knew something wasn't right. She jumped up and went to the restroom and started throwing up. In the 2.5 years since, Hill faced health complications as well as reaching a confidential settlement with the restaurant after suing. For the past 2.5 years, while continuing to teach and care for her family, she faced a long and difficult medical health journey. Through fighting to survive countless procedures, hospital stays, and uncertain days, she met the challenge with courage, faith, and quiet strength that inspired everyone around her. Now, in the days before Hill's death, she had another procedure. According to her mother, the hole in her esophagus wasn't healed, but it was a bit bigger and not as inflamed, so they were able to call in a pulmonologist. So it does look like they were trying to maybe repair esophageal burns or scars that were making it harder for her. One sec. So It does look like that this was a lingering and lifelong problem. So I don't know, because the confidential settlement, I don't know how much she was able to get for that. Hopefully enough to take care of her family. Now, on Friday, October 24th, the Elgin Police Department, under the guidance of Comanche County District Attorney Kyle Cabela, contacted the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. Now, on Monday, October 27th, Acting Police Chief Ralph Parson issued an update confirming that state investigators will initiate an initial inquiry into this matter and be assisted by the Elgin Police Department. Now, the OSBI will be the lead agency. Holly's family has been notified, and we ask the community to be patient and respectful of the family. Now, efforts to reach out to the restaurant were unsuccessful on Monday. In May 2023, the restaurant did make a social media post that appeared to apologize for the incident. We're very sorry for what happened during these 10 years. We've never had a situation like this, a situation that should not have occurred in the first place. So there you go. Now, it will be interesting to see if more of this comes out, if it can be led to negligence and what's going on. It does sound like, she left loved one children behind, and all of the students that she taught. So hopefully they will find out some answers and figure out what the hell happened and keep it from happening to anyone else. This is ridiculous. I don't know how an entire glass of industrial cleaner gets into a margarita glass, but I have some questions. In some good news, Happy Day icon Marion Ross was seen in a very rare picture as she celebrated her 97th birthday. Happy Days star Marion Ross made a rare appearance while celebrating her 97th birthday in a new snap shared by her son, Jim Meeksman, on Saturday. Now, Meeksman, who is also a famous actor and comedian, posted a sweet Instagram tribute and shared a glimpse of how the famous actress celebrated her birthday. So, there we go. Where I didn't even know she was still alive. I had assumed she passed on, but hey, it looks like a wonderful cake. Good son, taking care of his mom, giving her a cake and a birthday. So I say good deal. And she's looking spry and red hair. I am here for it, queen. So we say good. Aw. And the fawns. All right, we have come to that time where I name and shame, and y'all buckle in. Buckle the F in, because y'all, like, some days I joke about it, like, oh, maybe CERN, maybe the Matrix is undone. But no, y'all, these times, I swear to goodness, I am like, did the demons get loose from the Hellmouth? Where is Buffy the Vampire Slayer when you need her? That being said, we have some people to name and shame, and I know y'all are here for it, so let's get well, it's not called the Intimidator, and he is our only euphemistic friend, not really our friend, and he does have all his safety measures, Lord Chippy.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
I often wonder if stupid people see brighter colors, or if they know that they're stupid. But this teen decided to, take a woman's life because she refused to give him a ride because he looked like a scary looking teen. So he decided to prove her theory correct and take her life for not giving her a ride. See, it all makes logical sense as long as you have a smooth brain and are a thinking enthusiast. A 16-year-old boy. I mean, let that sink in. This kid has no moral compass that he thought he could take someone's life for not giving him a ride. A 16-year-old Idaho boy is accused of taking a force multiplier from his workplace and then taking the life of a woman because she said he wouldn't give him a ride, and he thought that her brothers had a role in his friend's death. Yeah, put a bullet in her brain. The suspect, Bobby Grant Jackson Jr. He's a junior. Someone was that proud of Bobby Grant Jackson that they decided to let it, we needed to enumerate it. Now, he reportedly told that to cops, so his defense attorney's like, Dios mío. Anywho, now this was him referring to the 30-year-old victim, Rebecca Riviera. Now, Jackson is facing a first-degree murder charge for the shooting death that occurred Thursday in Blackfoot, some 250 miles east of Boise. Now, according to police, family members found Riviera passed away at her mobile home on Broadway Street. Now, a probable cause arrest affidavit obtained by Law and Crime said that Jackson was working earlier that day for a subcontractor renovating a hospital. An employee told investigators that Jackson had asked to go to the restroom and was gone a long time. Now, the man went looking for Jackson and realized that a force multiplier that he had in his lunchbox and truck was missing, and Jackson was nowhere to be found. So that employee called the police. Now, officers obtained surveillance footage that showed Jackson entered the truck and grabbed something. Investigators learned that Jackson had been living in a halfway house while on probation from a previous arrest for armed robbery. He's 16 years old and he's already got armed robbery. Sorry, you are our youngest Snake Island member, son. Like, I can't help you. You are already choosing bad. You must not have had highlights and Goofus and Galleon, because I don't know how to help you. Maybe we need to bring Steve from Blue's Clues in, because I'd much rather him deal with weird youth than let's think about him having dirty talk sessions on OnlyFans. If you missed that yesterday, yes, Steve is thinking of having a positive affirmation Smexy Talk audio channel on OnlyFans for ew. Now, it does look like there was no known relationship that Jackson had ever, talked about prior to, taking Riviera's life. Now, investigators were originally told that Jackson asked Riviera for a ride, and when she declined, he said F it and went to her trailer and took her life. Now, he also claimed that he recognized Riviera and believed that her brothers had been involved in a death of his friends. Now, when asked if he had taken Riviera's life as payback, he reportedly answered yes. Again, his defense attorneys just... So after his interview, prosecutors upgraded the second-degree unaliving charge to first-degree. He is being charged as an adult. He is being held on $1 million bond, and his next court date is slated for November 6th. When love turns sour, she'll turn state's evidence. A man accused of ratchet strapping a woman into a well after a rifle headshot might be in deep himself after his girlfriend turns on him. A West Virginia man, are we shocked? A West Virginia man who is accused of taking the life of a woman and throwing her body into a well heads to trial this week after being indicted on new charges this year. Michael Wayne Smith, 46, was charged in the murder of 35-year-old Cheyenne Johnson, whose body was found deep in a well days after she had been reported missing in April of 2021. Now, Michael Smith apparently admitted to police that he had shot Johnson in the head and disposed of her body in the well. Michael Smith was interviewed after police received a tip from his girlfriend, 33-year-old Virginia Smith. Now, Virginia Smith was charged as Michael Smith's co-defendant in connection with Johnson's homicide and pled guilty to first-degree murder, concealment of a dead body, and use of a firearm in commission of a felony in February 2023. Now, both Virginia Smith and Michael Smith, who are not related to each other, were reindicted earlier this year. Now, according to a criminal complaint obtained by Parkersburg News and the Sentinel, authorities learned from an informant that they had overheard a conversation between Michael Smith, Virginia Smith, and a third person discussing Johnson's death. Now, during that conversation, Michael Smith allegedly admitted to taking the life of Johnson by putting a force multiplier to her head and hiding her body in that well. Now, police made contact with both Michael Smith and Virginia Smith, the latter of whom initially claimed she didn't know Johnson. Virginia Smith, though, eventually cracked and led police to the well where Johnson's body was being held. Now, during an interview with police, Michael Smith was read his rights and allegedly confessed to the crime. He reportedly told police that Johnson had taken his girlfriend's car. When Johnson returned the car to Virginia Smith, there was a confrontation between the two women. Now, Michael Smith, who was present for the confrontation, told police that Johnson produced a knife and he tried to take it away. Now, according to the police, Michael Smith then said that the argument escalated and there were fisticuffs going around. Now, when Johnson wouldn't let up on, attacking Virginia, Michael Smith allegedly told the police that he got a long-style force multiplier and threatened her and then accidentally shot her in the head, as, happens during very wild domestic things. Now, he then allegedly disposed of her body in the deep water well using a ratchet, strap, and belts. Now, according to local CBS and Fox affiliate WCHS, Michael Smith was also accused of stabbing Johnson before shooting her in the new indictment. Now, Michael Smith has been charged with first-degree murder, concealment of a deceased human body, use and presentment of a firearm during the commission of a felony, prohibited person in possession of a firearm, malicious assault, and assault in the commission or attempt to commit another felony. Now, he's pled not guilty to all these charges, but considering he decided to confess and his girlfriend's turning on him, I don't know how successful he's going to be in all this. And this last one, I have no words, and it would be from my hometown, and y'all, shame and embarrassment on Indiana. Shame, embarrassment on Indiana. Just don't unalive him. Boy said his dad and stepmom let his stepbrother point a loaded, hand force multiplier at his stomach. Now, I would like to say, as a Hoosier and Appalachian American, we don't know them. Look, this is trash behavior. Like, there's hillbilly and then there's trash behavior. And as a, Appalachian American, I would like to say that this is just trash behavior. We do not claim these people. Look, we're hillbilly but classy about it. An Indiana minor has claimed that his stepbrother held a force multiplier to him and told police that his father and stepmother allegedly did nothing to stop this. Anthony Rybolt and Latasha Money are both charged with child neglect resulting in bodily injury after Rybolt's son told police about an assault at the hands of his stepbrother, who is Money's son. Now, according to a probable cause affidavit, the minor, whose age has not been specified, and his mother contacted the police in late April after he said that his stepbrother had given him a not friendly neck hug and then pointed the force multiplier at his stomach. Now, when the boy told Rybolt and Money about the incident, they allegedly told the stepbrother, quote, "Just don't kill him," end quote. We do not claim them. Now, again, according to the affidavit, the minor told the police that a week before the altercation, Rybolt and Money had forced him to use his car to drive the other child to St. Augustine, Florida, so that the child could hide in an unnamed person home. Now, the objective, the police said, was to evade an active child in need of services warrant. Now, when the minor returned from making the trip, Rybolt and Money demanded that he give back his car keys so they could use it to continue to evade law enforcement. Now, when the victim refused that, the stepbrother allegedly attacked him by jumping on top of him while he was lying on his bed and giving him a two-handed neck hug. Now the boy was left with visible red bruising on his neck, and the strangulation reportedly occurred before the brother then took the forced multiplier and pointed at him, saying, "I don't need you anymore." Now the minor told the police that his father and stepmother were promoting and inducing the stepbrother's behavior, not stopping him. Again, just gross, disgusting behavior. Now, after the altercation, the boy made contact with his aunt to tell her what happened. Witnesses told the police that the victim was upset and afraid when they spoke to him, and that they were able to see and corroborate that there was bruising on his neck. Now, on April 28th, the minor and mother reported the alleged incident to police, who then arrested Ribel and Money on Thursday. Now, they were both charged with neglect of a child causing great bodily harm, and after being booked in the Allen County Jail, they both posted a $10,000 bond and were released. Now, they are scheduled to reappear back in court on October 27th. Just, look, we don't claim them, but I name and shame everyone, even from my home state. So there you go. Indiana, officially the Florida of the Midwest today. Our final story, because we needed a good one to end. It looks like a new domed head dinosaur species has been discovered in Montana. Interesting. Researchers have discovered fossils of the Brontolethes harmoni, a dome-headed dinosaur in Montana, according to a published paper that dropped on October 9th in the Zoological Journal of Linnean Society. Now, it's the first some sort of pachycephaloidic dinosaur from the late Cretaceous period to be found in the two Medicine Formation in Glacier County, Montana. I was like, damn it, I'm going to have to parse this out, because I was like, okay, so pachycephalotoid are, okay. So yeah, basically that. Now, the late Cretaceous period is the final period of the age of dinosaurs, which lasted from about 100 to 66 million, 66 million years ago, and ended with a mass extinction of non-avian dinosaurs. So it's got a little dome head. Do we get to look what this creature? Seriously, you didn't even put like one of the Jurassic Park things so we could see what it looked like if we get this? Now, the dinosaur was part of this family that lived about 75 million years ago, and the fossils from this dinosaur were found in Montana in 1985 and in Canada in 1989. Now, one of the study's authors, Dr. D. Carey Woodruff, a paleontologist, has told, USA Today. Now, this particular dinosaur that they found in Montana does have distinct features that do make it its own sort of unique thing, including a bipedal gait, heriodontition, ossified myopia in the tail, and ornamental skulls. And I only know what two of those things mean. I am not a paleontologist. Although that is the funniest thing that happened to me when I was raising young kids. So I've got, 3 feral wild boy children, and my brother meets this lovely woman who has 2 beautiful and like smart and calm children. And her oldest son comes up to me first time he meets me, like shakes my hand, looks deeply into my eyes, and he's like, "Hi, I'm so and so years old, and I want to be a paleontologist." And I had to look at this little boy's eyes and say, "Hi, my name is Mo, and I just want my sons to not glue themselves to something today and wear pants." Like, look, goals are different. Like, you can be a paleontologist, I believe in your dreams. My dream right now is to not have any fires. So there you go. We found a new dinosaur. I wouldn't recommend ropeless bungee jumping, but it's on delay, so keep that in mind. And just have a wonderful day. I will be heading over to hang out with Megan in just a little bit. She does look like she's doing a stream. She is back from California time and working on being okay with waking up. So I will be heading over there if she makes a makes a stream. If not, then tomorrow we are going to be doing the verdict for the Donna Adelson case. Thursday, we will be doing Wendy as Wendy. So that seems like a good idea. So for the verdict tomorrow, we will be a little more somber. I will be obviously still doing a get up, but it will be more somber because I definitely want to give the family the opportunity to hear all of this after we finally got Donna. But then on Thursday, I'll be in the Wendy wig as Wendy, listening to Wendy testify. It's almost too Wendy to be believed. Now, will I be having a Wendy's Baconator and a Frosty? Possibly, depending on how obnoxious I want to be. But that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for spending your time with me. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and keep a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. And, Miss Frizzle says. Although I think my name would be Miss Frazzle and I would teach the children to do bathtub gin. That being said, sounds like more chemistry than they're learning currently, so bye you guys.